I'd like you all to imagine that you've gone to the doctors. And instead of the normal questions surrounding your health, such as do you exercise, do you smoke, instead you were asked, how many close friends do you have? What groups are you a part of? How important are these groups to you? Now, these questions might seem out of context, but the truth is, the groups to which we belong are important predictors to our future health, more important than diet, exercise, smoking, or medication. You see, social isolation is a killer. It affects 1 in 5 of the population. It affects young and old, so we all know somebody who's been impacted. It's a gnawing chronic disease that increases the risk of depression, addiction. It raises your heart pressure, it lowers your immune system, and it gradually wears you down, ultimately contributing to a premature death. But there is hope. If you join just one group, you cut your risk of death in the next year in half. You see, we're social beings. We're born into families. We live in communities and we work and play in groups. And it is these groups that become part of our identification, our social identity. It's where I and me become us and we. And when we identify with a group, we adhere to the norms, values, and behaviors of that group. And when positive, these contribute to positive health-related behaviors. But more than that, our social groups are the basis for the giving and receiving of support and connection. They ground us in the world, giving us purpose, meaning, and control. And when we draw on these tangible and psychological resources, we strengthen our immune system and are more capable to tackle adversity, stress, and even illness. But there's a catch. The membership has to be meaningful. I had a friend who had a difficulty transitioning into college. Ruth lost connection to her old friends and she struggled to make new ones. The more isolated she got, the more she mistrusted and avoided others. She once spoke about being in a room full of people, but feeling utterly alone. And that's because the identification with the group wasn't meaningful. Had it been meaningful, she could have been more able to cope with added stress and tackle major illness from the common colds to HIV. But so strong is the effect of our groups that we're now developing interventions such as choir singing for schizophrenia and postnatal depression, midnight running groups to support families affected by suicide. Which brings up the thought of the next time you're in the doctor's office, perhaps it's time the prescription book is opened to include membership cards to social activities such as bingo, youth clubs, running clubs, choir singing. And remember, join a group, cut your risk of death in the next year in half. Thank you very much.
Nicely done, Daragh.